Evening, you guys.
We have come together as a family. We have come here as we are. We have come with arms wide open. We have gathered here in love. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof with shouts of praise. Spirit's in this place. We sing in celebration. We sing with words of prayer. We affirm all life as sacred. We declare that peace is here. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof with shouts of praise. Spirit's in this place. Yeah, 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 yeah. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof with shouts of praise. Spirit's in this place.
Thank you, Jimmy and Julie. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Reverend Lee Alvarado. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Northern Colorado. So glad that you have joined us. Welcome to those online. So we are an inclusive community. We honor all faiths, all traditions, all paths to God. So wherever you are on your journey, we welcome you here. And you know, we follow the teachings of Ernest Holmes. And Ernest Holmes, he studied all the major religions. He pulled the greatest truths of all those religions and basically created what we call science of mind. And in Science of Mind, we believe that you can change your life by changing your thoughts. And we offer practical tools that you can take out into your life and actually use and apply. So we're going to talk about some of those tools today. So we're having some issues with slides, and normally I'd have you read our vision and our mission together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat some words, and you're going to repeat back to me, okay? So let's just try that. So our vision, we are a powerful spiritual community. Lovingly committed to a world of acceptance, compassion, peace, and joy. And our mission, to gather together, to express love, practice radical acceptance and inclusion, and connect with one another and spirit. So settle back as we take a moment to go within with an opening prayer, an opening song, and a meditation.
Well, thank you for those of you who braved the snow and came out tonight, and thank you for those of you who are at home and warm and comfy on your couch. So if you feel comfortable, please close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, and maybe just another one. As we take this moment to remember why we are all gathered together, that it is all about love, another name for spirit, another name for the divine. That is that great creator, that infinite love, that infinite peace, the peace like the peace that happens when snow falls, and that creation and creativity like each individual snowflake. And as we recognize that love and that creativity, we know that we, each one of us, are that love, are that creativity, are that peace. And we are that snowflake, that unique, completely apart and separate and completely together and one. Unique and yet always a part of the flurry of snow that is the world. And I know that in this peaceful place that we gather here together and we are fed. We're fed spiritually with the talk, with the music, with the community, with each other. That just as the snow falls on the mountain and the mountain provides water and the water nourishes the people, that the words, the divine is the spirit that feeds the soul, that feeds the people. And in such gratitude for each snowflake and for the creation of each snowflake, I say thank you. And I release all that I've said, knowing that it is already so. And if you choose to join me, you can say, and so it is. And just stay in that peaceful place. We're going to move into a meditation. We're going to move into a chant. And Jimmy and Julie will lead us in this chant, but just stay in that. The words are, I am that I am. You can just sing it and feel the vibrations moving through your body. Feel the sound waves just moving through the air. And to begin this chant and begin those vibrations, it will begin with the vibrations of a chime.
music up. Pull our microphone up. Got my eye on you. Okay, so let's see. This is a Karen Drucker song. We sang it at Leah's ordination a little while ago. And I like it a lot. Here we go.
If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. If love is why we're here, let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. If love is why you're here, may you be an open channel. If love is why you're here, may you give and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we're finishing up this month. We're talking about back to basics, which basically means that we're talking about our basic foundational principles of science mind. And a lot of churches do that. A lot of CSL churches do that over January, the beginning of the year, and so we've been following suit. And so today I'm talking about the spiritual principles that govern our life, the spiritual laws that govern our life. And you know, Ernest Holmes, our founder, something he would often say is there's a power that is greater than you are, and you can use it. I can hear his voice. He's got this booming voice. I wish I could play that for you because it's pretty cool to hear him. And so this power that is within us, we don't think that exists, or I should say we forget that it's there. We forget that this power is available to us and we can use it and access it in our lives so that we can experience more joy and more freedom. And so today, specifically, what I'm going to talk about is the creative process and how we can bring that power into our life. And the reason I'm talking about the creative process is because I think it's probably one of the most powerful principles that we teach, that Ernest Holmes brought to us. And you know, it's our nature to create because it's the nature of the universe to create. The universe is always in creation, is always creating. And because we are one with that presence, we are one with the divine, we too can create. We have the power to do that. And there's 3 steps, and I had a really cool slide that I was going to show you about that, so you're just going to have to imagine it with me. But there's 3 steps that I'm going to talk about today, very specific steps to follow to actually create what it is that you want in your life. So I want to begin with a story just to kind of illustrate and paint, kind of create the foundation here. So in 2008, I moved here from California. And my background is in career counseling. I think many of you know that I did that for a long time. And I moved here and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do something different. I'm ready to hang up my career counseling hat and I want to try something different. So I was trying to figure it out, and while I was trying to figure it out, I was running out of money. And eventually the money got really, really low, and so I needed to get a job. And I got a job with this nonprofit in Boulder. And I had worked somewhat with youth, and so somehow I ended up managing the youth program, which I really had no business doing because it's not truly my sweet spot. I love kids, but it wasn't really my sweet spot, but I needed a job, and so I said yes, and they said yes to me, and so here I was. And it wasn't long before I got into this position that I realized that this was probably the most toxic and dysfunctional environment I'd ever worked in my life. Isn't that funny how that happens? So here I am in this environment, and the woman who ran the organization, here's how she, just to give you a flavor of how she reacted to or responded to us as employees. I'd finish a project, I'd hand it to her, she'd throw it back at me and say, "What is this?" And she'd literally throw it back at me. One time she said, I was in her office, and she said, "You know, people here would rather have their teeth pulled than work with you." And I said to her, "That's not true." "Well, that's my assessment," she said to me. So this was a woman who would put you down in front of staff. She would scream at you. She would yell. And the environment, as you can imagine, was not managed well. It was disorganized. The kids were amazing, and the kids got what they needed. But the management of this organization was horrible. So I would go home every night with stomach aches and just feeling emotionally exhausted. And I knew I needed to find another job. And so one day I applied to a career counseling position, because I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back to career counseling. Let me just do that. It's what I know. It's what I'm good at. I applied to a position down in Denver at the Community College of Denver. And I'm sitting there and I'm interviewing with this panel, and I'm feeling great. And I went away from that thinking, I nailed this. I got the job. I just know it. 3 days went by. I'm sitting at my desk at my work, and an email comes through and says, "We've decided to go in another direction." You know, we've all heard that, right? So I'm sitting there and I can feel this emotion coming up in me. I look around, there's nobody around. There's a utility closet behind my desk. I sneak in there, I shut the door, and I cried my eyes out. So I'm holding my head in my hands and I'm crying, I'm sobbing. And in that moment, this insight comes to me. Leah, you're not crying because you didn't get the job. You're crying because you're still stuck here. So when I realized that was huge for me, because I realized something has to change. If I need to move on from this position, I need to shift my perception. I had all these spiritual tools, and I wasn't using any of them. I was just staying stuck in my stuff. So in that moment, I decided, okay, I'm going to approach this differently. So I decided every night, instead of going home and kvetching about how awful my job was and how horrible this woman was, I would sit in meditation and I would release my day. So every day I would come home and I'd sit and I would release my day and I would just let go of all the stuff. And then I started visualizing. Every night before I go to bed, I would visualize what I wanted. But the first thing I did was actually made a list. So Leah, what do you want? I was like, what do you want? So I wrote down the kind of boss I wanted, the kind of environment I wanted, the kind of money I wanted. the kinds of strengths that I knew I wanted to actually use, that I wasn't really using in this job. I wrote down every single detail that I could possibly think of, and I took that into my visualizations at night. Another thing I realized too was that the woman who was my boss, who was mean and awful to me, was a reflection of somebody from my childhood. Isn't it always that way? So I realized too that I needed to do some forgiveness work. So that was another layer that I was working on. And so I was doing all these things. And then I had an affirmation when I was driving to work. I was imagining driving to my new job. And I was affirming to myself, I know that there's a group of people out there who want what it is that I have to offer, who appreciate my talents and my abilities, and I just kept affirming that. And I kept doing this work over and over again for about 3 months. And then all of a sudden, a job showed up. I was looking for positions, and this amazing job showed up at the University of Colorado Boulder, and it was managing their alumni career program. I ended up getting hired, and I'll tell you, I worked there for 13 years, and I left that job to come here to do this full time. That job fit exactly what I wrote on my list. It fit everything. The people, I wanted an atmosphere where we were laughing all the time and having fun all the time, and it had that even. It was incredible. And so I share that story because it's an indicative of the creative process. So the creative process, it starts with getting clear about what you want. And sometimes we get clear because we're going through something hard, something challenging. And isn't it interesting, when we're in the thick of it, what comes out of that is our greatest desires, what we want, what we need, what we most want to experience. And so that is how we discover what it is that we want most in our life. So that's the first step. So, but isn't it funny, as humans, we tend to focus on what's missing, what's not working, what we need, and we're wanting it to be so different. So we're standing here in the midst of it, and we want to be over there. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be experiencing what I'm experiencing right now. I want to be over there. But yet we continue to focus on what's missing and what's not working and what's driving us crazy and what's irritating us and what's making us angry. And yet, but I want to be over there. But we can't be over there if we're focused on what's missing and what's not working, right? Greg Braden, he said, both science and ancient traditions suggest the very same thing, that we must embody in our lives the very conditions that we wish to experience in the world. You know, and quantum physics has proven this. When we focus on something, it actually shifts the frequency of it, so much so that then other things come in to match that frequency. So science has proven that. So when we focus on something, whether it's what's missing and what's not working, or what it is that we desire, that powerful force in the universe says, okay, I'm going to bring you whatever it is that you are focused on. Whatever it is, whether it's positive or whether it's negative. The universe just says yes. That's a law. It just says yes. It's impersonal. And so, is it possible then to change our point of focus? Yes, we can do that at any moment. And we want to change our life. We so want to be over there. And you know, we do have the power at any moment to change that. And we can change actually our reality just by shifting our point of focus. And this is why we call our philosophy, our religion, the science of mind, because it is a science. And as a science, it can be proven. It can be proven. So the creative process begins with an idea. It begins with a divine idea. It begins with a desire that we have. So as you think about your life, as you think about your health, as you think about your career, as you think about your financial life, as you think about your relationships, what's an area in your life that you would like change in? Now, there may be many areas, but pick one. What's one area that you would like a shift, a change in? And so you declare that to yourself, and you decide, okay, I want this change. That's the first step. I don't want to experience this in my life anymore. When I was in that closet, that's when I got really clear about what I wanted. And it came out of frustration. It came out of upset. And sometimes that's when the good stuff actually comes. It gives birth to what it is that we truly want. So it's not a bad thing. And so the other thing about understanding what we desire is to declare it powerfully, with conviction, rather than, well, it'd be nice. It would be nice if I had better relationships in my life. It would be nice if I didn't have these issues in my body. Instead of that, we decide in this moment that it's going to be different. We declare it. We have conviction about it. Ernest Holmes said, we can't say that one thought is creative while another is not. All thought is creative according to the nature, impulse, emotion, or conviction behind the thought. So I'm going to say that line again. All thought is creative according to the nature, impulse, emotion, or conviction behind the thought. Ignorance of this excuses no one from its effects, for we are dealing with the law. So the law just accepts it. The law of mind just accepts it and just says, okay, I'm going to give you what it is that you are asking for. Whatever it is that you are focused on, that is what's going to show up in your life. Right? So if, for example, we want more peace, we say, you know what, I want more peace in my life. I want to experience more peace. So in order to manifest more peace in our life, we have to actually nurture that idea. So that means doing affirmations, taking it into our meditation, journaling about it. It has to become part of our consciousness for it to shift. In order for me to shift my reality and get that job at CU Boulder, I had to shift my consciousness around it. I was nurturing the consciousness of, this woman is awful. This environment is awful. I hate my job. I am miserable here. I can't use my talents and my strengths. That's what I was nurturing. And I did that for 1.5 years, every day. So much so that it made me sick. I ended up getting really sick at that job. And so once I had that moment in that closet and I said, okay, enough, I realized that I have the power to change this. And then it did, and it changed. So step 2 of the creation process is nurturing our desire. It's not enough to just say, I want this thing. Because if we just say we want this thing, it's out there somewhere. It's not here. Here, we're still complaining about what we don't have and what's missing. But I want that. Well, in order to get that, we have to shift our consciousness. We have to do something different. We have to be willing to be disciplined about it. And if we're not willing to do that, then the universe is like, what do you want? I don't know. You say you want peace, but you keep complaining about how awful your life is. You say you want love in your life, but you keep saying how you don't have it and it's missing. You say you want better relationships, but you keep judging those people in your life. We can't have both. We can't have both. We have to make a decision, this is what I want, and then nurture it. Give it some love, give it some attention. And so here's the thing, that we decide what we want and it gets planted in this spiritual consciousness. It's like there's this energy, this field of energy where it gets planted. And in the science of mind, this creative principle is called a law because it cannot be changed. It just receives it. Ernest Holmes said, there is a law of mind which acts mathematically, mechanically, but intelligently, having no purpose or intention of its own, but following the consciousness which directs it. The consciousness directs it. So what is our consciousness as we think about those things we want in our life, what's the consciousness that you are holding in relation to that? And it's not to judge yourself, God, my consciousness is not where it should be. It's not about judging, but it's just observing and paying attention to where your consciousness is in relation to that thing that you desire. And you know, it's impersonal. It just responds to our thoughts. It responds to what we put out to the universe. And then it gets reflected back to us. It's like the soil. So if you think about a seed that gets planted into the ground, in order for that seed to grow, what does it need? It needs water, it needs sunshine, it needs nurturing. It needs the perfect environment for it to thrive and to grow. And that is also true for us. So what are the seeds that we're planting? What are the thoughts that we're planting? And are we nurturing those? In what way are we nurturing them? So, you know, if we plant a thought that says, I want more peace in my life, but our thoughts and our beliefs are focused on negativity and strife, then we aren't nurturing the consciousness of peace, we are nurturing the consciousness of negativity and strife. And then that is what we experience. So when I worked for that nonprofit, you know, I was doing all of these things. I was meditating, I was affirming, I was doing all of that, but I was still in a toxic environment. The environment didn't change. And so in those moments, I had to be really diligent because she was still doing her thing, my boss. And in those moments, this is how committed I was, because I had a lot at stake, because I knew that if I didn't shift my consciousness around this, I would either be stuck there or I would drag it with me to the next job and experience the same thing at the next job. So I knew this. So when she was doing her thing, or I was feeling a little bit of negativity, I would close my eyes for a moment, and I would connect with my visualization that I'd been visualizing about every day. I would see myself in this new job. I would feel it as though it was happening right now. I would feel the joy of it, the excitement of it. I would see the people and their smiling faces. I would feel the joy of what it would be like to be in a job where I was expressing all my talents and my gifts, and it just happened within a few seconds. I would close my eyes, I would visualize that, and then it would shift. And I did that every day. And sometimes I'd have to do it 10 times in a work day. But I was so committed, I kept doing it every single day. And it worked. It worked. Within 3 months, I landed in this new position. So, you know, our mind will tell us when we're in those spaces, our mind will tell us that it's not possible. You know, we decide, we declare that we want something, and then our mind will say, yeah, good luck with that. And so in those moments, especially if we're having a health issue, let's say, and we've got pain in our body, and we want so much to not have pain in our bodies. And it keeps reminding us, it keeps nagging at us, telling us, I'm still here, I'm still here. But we can still sit with our eyes closed. We can do something to shift that. We can put on music that inspires us. We can watch something that inspires us. We can meditate, we can go into and quiet our mind. And it's not easy. There are times when it's just not going to be easy. That's part of the human walk, isn't it? But how committed are you to experiencing that desire that you want in your life? How committed are you? It does take a commitment, and it does take discipline. But what's possible for our lives is that we can have what it is that we desire. That's what the creative process is all about. That's what it's all about. And so, step 2, we nurture it. And then step 3, we watch the manifestation unfold. And you know, as humans, we get impatient. We want it to happen right now. Now, it may happen within 3 months, it may happen within 6, and it might take longer. And so we keep doing our work. We keep doing the work, and we keep affirming and knowing that this thing that we desire is happening right now. When we state affirmations, we don't state them as though they're in the future. I will have this, because then it always remains out there. We state it as though it's right here. I am experiencing the health. I am experiencing joy. I am experiencing a loving relationship. We state it as though it's right here, and you feel it as though it's right here, right now. That's the difference. So when I was driving my car to work every day, I would imagine that I was driving my car to my new job. And I would actually feel it as though I was driving to my new job, and I could feel the excitement of that. Because, the mind doesn't know, there is no difference in the mind between what's imagined and what's real. So if we can imagine it, we help to create it and bring it to us by doing that. So Dennis Merritt Jones said, I love what he said, "The universe is continually conspiring for your good. When you are available to consciously participate in the process, you live in an expanding universe which can only do for you what it can do through you." So we have this partnership, this power that Ernest Holmes talks about. This power is available to us. This universal power is right there. And we can access it and use it to bring to us that which we most desire. This stuff works. It really does. Somewhere along the way, we got the impression that, we got to just deal with life. It's just life. No, actually, we don't. We really don't. So here are the 3 steps again. First, creative process. First is you get clear about what you want, what you desire. Write it down. Get really, really clear. If you've got 50 things on that list, so what? The more the better. Get really clear about what that is. The second step is to nurture it, which means visualize it, affirm it, speak it powerfully. Feel it as if it's right here, right now in your life. And then 3, enjoy the manifestation of it and give thanks. We give thanks for what we know is already happening. So we say, thank you, Spirit, for this joy in my life. Thank you, Spirit, for this peace. Thank you, Spirit, for this amazing relationship, even though it's not here yet. We give thanks for it, knowing that it is already here. And the universe says, okay, I'm going to bring this to you. So as you go out into your week, reflect on what it is you want. Pick one thing. What's one thing that if you could have it, it would change your life? It would bring you more joy and more freedom. What is one thing? So take some time this week to reflect on that. And give yourself full permission to really feel the accomplishment of that, to feel it as though it is happening right now. The divine has our back. It has guided you here today. Know that you are here for a reason today, to hear this message on some level, or you wouldn't be here. So the divine is there always, guiding us to that which will bring us the most joy and the most freedom. That is our birthright. Let's pray. Practitioners, please stand in high consciousness. And so in this space, in this moment, we feel the energy that is building, the energy that has guided us all here together tonight. We feel the energy of our desires coming forth, tapping us on our shoulders, saying yes, giving ourselves full permission to say yes to our desires. I'm knowing that each of us are getting the clarity that we need to know exactly what it is that we want in our life. And that we are guided through that process. And we are nurturing that desire. We are nurturing our consciousness around that. We are affirming, we are doing our spiritual work, our spiritual practices every day, committing to that. Trusting and knowing that the divine has our back, that the divine is guiding us to that which will bring us the most joy, freedom, happiness, peace, whatever it is that we desire. I am knowing that that is so for each of us. And so we just give thanks for remembering this creative process. We give thanks for being taught this creative process today. and that we're able to go out into our lives and apply it in amazing ways. And so I give thanks for all that I know is unfolding for each and every person here today and who's hearing the sound of my voice either today or at some point in the future. Because whatever it is that we desire, it absolutely can come forth to us and through us and for us. And so we give thanks for the unfolding of that. We give thanks for being reminded of that. We give thanks for being reminded of that tremendous and amazing power that God is, that source of all life, that supports each one of us on our journey. And so with that, I release this. I let it go. I let it go into the law that always says yes. That impersonal law that says yes to whatever it is that is planted into it with conviction, with emotion, and with commitment. And so with that, we let it go. We allow it to be. And together we say, and so it is.
I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
So if I can have our ushers come forward, please. It's now time in our service for our offering. And so I give to this community because I believe in this teaching, and I know that it transforms lives because it's transformed mine. If you received something tonight that touched you, we invite you to give. And if you would like to place your gift over your heart, and I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. This gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing. All it touches, freely I give, and joyfully I receive.
There is a power, a presence, one life of all, and no other power can exist outside of the infinite. One love, there can only be God's love. Oh yes, I know that I walk, oh yes, I walk in the love of God. There is a wisdom, a knowing, a loving, and a truth. Whatever you need to know will come in God's way for you. Just say, until it shows, I'll pray. I won't move until I know. Oh yes, I walk in the love of God. It's everywhere.
I can see it.
It's everywhere.
And I know in my heart.
Yes, the power and the glory and the love of God is everywhere.
Can you see it?
It's everywhere.
Can you feel it? It's
Everywhere.
Won't you sing in your heart?
Yes, I walk in the love of God. There is a power, a presence, one life of all, and no other power can exist outside of the infinite one love. There can only be God's love. Oh yes, I know that I walk. Oh yes, I walk in the love of God. Oh yes, I walk in the love of God.
Thank you, Jimmy and Julie. Thank you, Matt. All right, so I just bless this, knowing that it supports our beloved community and allows us to continue to do good work in the community and in the world, and so it is. So I want to acknowledge any new people. Do we have any new people? If you're brave to raise your hand, I'm looking out. I think I see all familiar faces. Okay, and if you're online and you're new, welcome. So glad that you have joined us today. I'm now going to bring up Amber Davidson, one of our practitioners. This whole month our practitioners have been sharing a little bit about who they are and what they do, and Amber's going to talk about a little bit about classes.
Hi, so as a practitioner, we get to teach classes. We get to to take the education that we've gotten and to be able to companion people through that reality for themselves, for that knowledge that they gain. I work at home office in the education department, so I see a lot of the curriculum. I get to work on a lot of the curriculum, and there's a lot of exciting classes and a lot of information. And I look at that and I think, I just recently had a thought, I'm a practitioner. That means that I took a number of prerequisite classes before I started practitioner training. And there are a lot of classes I didn't take. And a lot of those are very interesting looking. And I'm like, why haven't, I should take those other classes. So, but as a practitioner, that's one of the things that we get to do, is that we get to lead classes. And it's a very, it's an honor to do it, and it's just very fun.
Thanks, Amber. They've been given the training to do that, so it's not like you become a practitioner. It's like, okay, go teach a class now. They actually are provided training and guidance so that they can facilitate and teach. So thanks, Amber. All right, a few announcements. Our outreach for this month is nestled in the NICU. So every month we choose a different organization to support, and a percentage of our tithes goes to support that organization. And so these are babies in the NICU, in the intensive care unit, who need a little more love and attention, and so our tithes are going to support them. And there's also on our newsletter, there is a QR code, or you can actually just click on our newsletter, and you can, they have some care packages, so some of that money is going to go to support the care packages, and there's a wish list there. So if you're curious about that, you can find it there. We have a class coming up. Brooke Minkle, another one of our practitioners, is teaching the 4 agreements. And how many of you have read the 4 agreements? Who's read? Oh my gosh, a lot of you. Wow. Such a great book. It's one of those books that you want to just keep reading over and over again, yeah? And so she's teaching a class. It's 5 weeks, and it starts on February 2nd. So it starts this coming week. And you still have time to register. Tomorrow will be the last day to register for that. And there's slots available. So that's also in the newsletter. Food for thought. So this is something that our center used to do years in the past, like maybe 3 or so years ago, pre-COVID, and we brought it back. So it's called Food for New Thought. So what that means is that you get to host a dinner at your home, and you get to provide whatever meal you want, a theme. You can create a theme, and then we sell tickets. So you get to purchase a ticket, and that money goes to support the church. And it's a way to come together as community in small, intimate gatherings. The Dowenhauers did the Thai one for this month. Thank you for that. And this, for February, Marie Haller, who's not here today, our sound person and person who does all things. Marie, if you haven't met her, you'll get to know her. But she's doing the Food for Thought for February. She's hosting that. And I believe she's doing it along with Matt, who's in the back there too. So steak, barbecued steak. So if you're a meat eater, she barbecues an amazing steak. So just know there's 8 spots for that, and you can find out more in the newsletter. And then I also want to say that I'm going to be doing a listening tour. I've been in this role as a senior minister for 6 months now. And so what I'm doing is I'm making my rounds and reaching out to people, and I want to connect with you one-on-one and find out, how are you doing? How are you feeling about things? What's your vision for our center? So it's just a coffee chat, just to get to know you. So look for an email from me. I'll be sending those out. Yeah. And, the other thing, too, I want to mention is that we have an amazing group of volunteers. We call it the Seva team. Seva in Sanskrit means sacred service. And so we have volunteers that set up the room before service and tear it down at the end, and we have ushers and all the things. There's a lot of roles that we still need filled. So if you are interested in participating, if you are feeling a connection with our community and want to help, there's a round table right there in the back with a list of volunteer opportunities. If you'd like to sign up, then check that out. You can take it home and take a look at some of the roles that we are looking to fill. Tonight, we have our youth cooking us dinner. I hear them in the back. I heard them earlier, and so I think they're cooking us breakfast. Yes, they're cooking us pancakes, and I think maybe some bacon, too. And so I think everybody loves bacon. I may be the only person on the planet that doesn't eat bacon. I don't know. But so come join us. It's $10. So if you haven't paid already, it's $10. I think there's jars on the table, little tip jars, too. So our kids are busy in the kitchen making all the food. And they do that the last Sunday of every month. Our youth cooks us dinner. Next month we're going to have a taco bar, I hear. So that should be fun. All the rest of everything you need to know is on our website. Check it out at cslnoco.org and or visit our newsletter. All right. So after service, our practitioners will be up here standing. And actually, just for privacy, practitioners, if you wouldn't mind coming up on the stage. Because as they're tearing stuff down and just for some privacy, it'd be great if you could come up here. And that's if you need prayer. If you're something on your heart and you'd like prayer for, our practitioners are amazing, and they would love to hold that space for you and pray with you. So, all right, let's stand for our benediction and our closing song. So I'm going to repeat these words, or I'm going to say them, and you're going to repeat them after me, okay? May we be at peace. May our heart remain open. May we awaken to the light of our own true nature. May we be healed. And may we be a source of healing for all beings. Love is who I am. Love is who we are. Love is all there is. Thanks, everyone.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for love. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for love. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only